Well, Charlotte, good evening. You know, it's about 24 groups moving around downtown D.C., divided between supporters of the president and Antifa protesters. And right now, the goal from MPD is to keep those two sides separated by at least about a block as they all move throughout D.C. And this is why, let's go to the video that was recorded earlier by one of our photojournalists, Jesse Varner, showing some arrests and certainly tense confrontations happening in and around Black Lives Matter Plaza. Charlotte, I can tell you that right now, police tell us 6 arrests have been made. The charges are unclear right now, except for one. Police able to confirm that there's at least one charge of simple assault, which bottom line is essentially punching somebody in the face, a physical confrontation. Now, Charlotte, I will tell you the scope of this protest, this March for Trump, certainly smaller than what we saw a month ago. For that, we go to Zach Merchant with a wrap on what happened throughout the day.
President Trump's supporters argue Biden's win was illegitimate, but the evidence and the courts tell a different story.
We come out here to support our president, President Donald Trump.
The stolen vote. Stop the steal.
This fight's more than the president. This fight is for our country. It's for the integrity of our Constitution and maintaining that for a long period of time.
That was the claim at Freedom Plaza today. President Trump's supporters argue widespread voter fraud tilted the presidential election toward Joe Biden. But Democratic and Republican officials across the country have repeatedly said they've seen no evidence of widespread fraud. President Trump's Attorney General William Barr said at the beginning of the month, "To date, we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election." And in Georgia, state election official Gabriel Sterling, a conservative serving in a conservative state government, said Georgia's signature match program worked.
No one has provided a shred, a scintilla of evidence that signatures weren't matched. No one.
Still, supporters of the president and his own lawyers have filed dozens of lawsuits challenging the election results. More than 30 have already been dropped or dismissed, including, as of last night, 2 decisions by the U.S. Supreme Court declining to hear election challenges, effectively rejecting them. A fact that, for some, like Angie D. from Houston, was tough to swallow.
So I think what's next is 1776 or something like that. I don't know. But we don't want to accept.
At Freedom Plaza, Zach Merchant, WSA 9.
Okay, so Charlotte, back here live to give you a better idea of what's happening behind us. We're not able to zoom in that far, but I'll tell you, about 5 blocks to the north, that's McPherson Square, and that's where most of the clashes are happening at this hour. And again, it's supporters of the president and not so much Black Lives Matter protesters or people who are out during the daytime for our normal civic demonstrations here in the nation's capital, but they're all Antifa protesters. And I'll show you, you know, as we have these huge trucks that are still sealing off the area around Freedom Plaza, and you have holiday decorations, and, you know, not to give you too much whiplash, but to my right over here, that in purple, that's the National Christmas Tree. It's such a sharp contrast, Charlotte, when normally people would be down here for holiday celebrations in a time of such fear and fracture and coronavirus. It's certainly an unsettling picture, and we'll keep you posted throughout the night. Charlotte?
It certainly is. Stay safe out there. Thanks so much, Mike Valerio, with that report. Well, meanwhile, different groups of counter-protesters met up at Black Lives Matter Plaza. They say to protect it from clashes like we saw at November's Million MAGA rally. Jess Arnold picks up our team coverage from there.
Some tense moments here between protesters and police as the sun went down, with officers again blocking off 16th Street. Earlier today, we spoke with demonstrators who said they came out to protect the plaza and democracy.
Trump pants out now!
A message the group RefuseFascism.org has been sounding since Joe Biden was projected to become the president-elect, and President Trump has refused to accept that result.
They lost the election, but they are winning ground even still, and that's why people have to stand up.
One sigh of relief for this group, as the Electoral College is expected to cast a majority of its votes for Biden in 2 days. But they say the work to unify the country is just beginning.
What's at stake is much bigger than even a few thousand violent Trump supporters on the street. It really is the future and the lives of millions and millions of people in this country and across the world.
Demonstrators with the group Showing Up for Racial Justice say they plan to guard the plaza and signs on the fence as long as they need to.
This is sacred ground for Black Lives Matter, so white allies like myself are here to offer support and solidarity to Black folks that are holding ground on this space as sacred space.
A space that's seen both clashes and celebrations this year, again home to cries for change.
At Black Lives Matter Plaza, Jess Arnold, WUSA 9.